Ignore those school board moms at your peril. Like it or lump it, Democrats and the media still not getting the message over why they got their butts kicked in Virginia. Republican Senator Rick Scott calling out CNN over why parents revolted in the Old Dominion.
It's not in the curriculum in Virginia.
Just to be... Brianna, would you like me to... Here, let me just read you a few things. In 2015, while Terry McAuliffe was governor, the Virginia Department of Education promoted incorporating a critical race theory lens in education. You can still find it on the Department of Education's website, still there. In February 2019, a superintendent memo for the Virginia Department of Education promoted critical race theory and the idea of white fragility. I hope Democrats continue to say it's not happening because parents aren't dumb. They can see it.
They look so unhappy on CNN.
Yeah, they are, because they are.
And yet DNC Chair Jamie Harrison still doubling down on the notion that racism was behind the Republican victories.
They understand that the only path to power for them is to make the American people scared, to come up with all of the dog whistles and the boogeymen and all of that. Democrats have to call out the lies, and we have to be bold in calling them out. And we got to make sure that we paint the contrast. Let people know what we have done for them.
Well, I think he's right about that. Democrats, if they have achievements, should be promoting their achievements, Dagan. But as a resident of, or as someone who hails from the Old Dominion, don't you think race is relevant for children growing up in Virginia, because Virginia was like the heart and soul of the slave economy?
History is taught. History should be taught. That's not what critical race theory is about, and it's not the problem that parents and Virginians had when they went to the polls and elected a Republican governor and a Republican lieutenant governor, the first black woman ever elected to statewide office, and a Republican attorney general. I could sit here for days and go over what is being taught in the Virginia schools that they take issue with. It's derived from, say, the ideas in Albemarle County from Ibram Kendi, author of How to Be an Anti-Racist. Children being taught words like cisgender, white privilege, non-Christian folks with an X, and issues of gender, race, sexuality, things that parents feel like should be up to them. I digress. But I love watching Breonna Keeler, or whatever her name is, belching up what her liberal overlords have told her to regurgitate. It's got to burn. I love how they will take parents are delusional wackos, and then Trump and Russia collusion, and they say something real is made up, and then say something made up is real. That's the world in which they live. It is, they're evangelists of left-wing moronacy.
But you can't ignore it. Race matters.
Yeah, race does matter, and that's what the parents were saying. We don't like being taught reverse racism. We don't want our students, our children, being called born racists in elementary school. I want to talk about Breonna.
Go ahead.
I don't like to do this because I don't like to ever mention these people by name. I feel like I want to be loved. Yes. And I don't ever want to see these people at bars and have their wives or their husbands throw haymakers at me.
Yeah.
I don't like to punch down like Gutfeld. Don't want to, elevate the competition. But I think...
I can only punch up at my height.
I think we need to address Breonna. Maybe she's nice. Maybe we'd get along if we met each other. But she is on a network that says facts first. And she, at this point, doesn't know that CRT is embedded in the curriculum of the Virginia school system. At this point, she doesn't know this. The story's been percolating since April, and she doesn't know that. I mean, does she now also think the dossier was real? Does she think the Youngkin supporters were the ones with the tiki torches? Does she think, Geraldo, that those two brothers actually did knock around Jussie Smollett that night in Chicago? Because I don't know if her producers are not giving her the right information. If I were Breonna, I would blame the producers, too. That's what I do. But this is why our show's so much better than that show. So many reasons. Here's one. We get these research packets in the morning, and they have facts in the packets, Breonna. And they also have articles from the left and the right, so you know what the left is saying about an issue, you know what the right's saying about an issue, you know what the media is saying about an issue, and then we, as hosts, do our own research, and we look for the truth, and then we formulate our opinions based on that truth. So there's truth out there. It's on the internet. She could look that up anywhere she wants. And if I ever make a mistake on the air, I will go about and correct it. And that's a few times I've been challenged, and then in the commercial break, I say, maybe I'm wrong here. No, not wrong. And then the other person has to correct the record. For instance, the other day, I said erroneously that the staff was not trendy. And I immediately corrected the record, and I think Brianna should do the same thing.
The staff was not trending?
Yeah, trendy.
Oh, trendy.
Trendy.
I gave him my shirt.
Oh, they're the same trendy.
Doesn't it remind you, Dana, isn't it parallel to the old teaching sex ed to third graders and fourth graders? I mean, parents are edgy,
I don't remember
generally
that.
speaking. Well, you're younger.
I don't remember that, but
You don't remember they don't want like graphic
We'll
sex.
check it
and
out
this
in the
is the-
commercial break. And
This
see
is
if
the
you're right.
boys'
I think a
PE.
lot of this also has to do with many people who are commenting about this and saying it has nothing to do with these schools. They don't have school-age children. And if you look at the exit polls in Virginia, parents of school-age children K through 12 went for Youngkin by a huge margin. And so they have taken on parents and they've made them mad. But the parents were not just mad about the CRT thing. They're mad that the schools were closed for so long, that there was a major loss of learning, that they don't even have the opportunity to have gifted and talented programs and advanced math. When Youngkin says, I will make sure that every high school has advanced math, and he gets applause, that's when you know parents are really paying attention, and they're making a mistake, not doing the same.
Do you really believe in your heart of hearts, Greg, that it isn't a signal? Dana talks of virtue signaling. Isn't there race signaling also? When you look at some of the rural counties in Virginia that went for Youngkin by 80%, 80 to 20, isn't there something about, isn't race relevant to that?
Not in
Wait,
this. Not in
Aren't
this.
some white suburban
Not in
women
this.
saying,
Not in this era. Maybe if that question was 50 years ago.
He's
this
calling
question,
my family a bunch of
Yeah.
bigots, so let's just be clear.
yeah, but but there is a lot of this race baiting, but it's all in reverse. For example, calling this history when in the title of it says theory.
Oh.
It's
yeah.
critical race theory. It is not history. That's why it's not that sex education is not a parallel analogy, because that's education. This is merely theory. The woke demands that you give them proof, and you saw what happened with Brianna. She's not woke. She says dim. And
you guys have been
no.
so
No. You have to point this out.
She's
She
unhappy
asked
with
for
it.
proof, and when he gave her proof, she didn't want to hear it because she knew she was in the wrong. So she just put that scowl on. People like Chris Rufo and this show. Remember this show when we first started doing this topic, we had the examples in our copy that said this is where CRT is taught and this is what CRT is. The irony and the best part about this is when you hear proponents of CRT try to define it and you hear critics try to define it, the definition is entirely the same. That's what kills me. They're not disagreeing. Identify children by their race within a country riven with systemic racism with the conclusion that white is the oppressor, right, and black is the victim. If you say that, the proponents will go, that's pretty good. You got it. And the critics will go, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what they're saying. So they're in agreement here. That's the funniest part about this. And it is dead because the parents finally woke up to this and found out that this was dangerous. Children are not equipped at that age to discuss this topic, especially when adults can't talk about it either.
Yeah.
I think the tragedy is
Don't call people racist.
Black people are Democrats, white people are Republicans in the working class, and the country is permanently divided by race. I think it's tragic.
Who fought to end slavery? Was it Democrats or was it Republicans? I can't remember.
It was the North.
And the people where I grew up voted on pocketbook issues. They voted on job creation. They voted on charter schools.
And black and white was irrelevant. Come on.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.